everyone, and welcome. Happy Monday. How are you? How is your weekend? I'm so grateful to be here with you. And those of you that are live with me, let me know where you're popping in from. Today's going to be awesome. I'm actually going to be talking about, are you too stressed to work out? And here's how you can move into calm. Because the truth is that the key that's happening today is that so many people are stressing their nervous systems out, right? And they're pushing and pushing. And my goal for the month of August, as we're closing out August, and slowly, I know I don't want to say it, we're slowly stepping into September, is that I want you to nurture yourself and take care of yourself. And so many of my patients, when I work with them, they're beginning to understand that that push and that drive is like this cortisol push that keeps showing up for them. And it doesn't have to be that way. And I even often, like I talked about last week, I have to check in with myself as well, right? And really see that I am breathing and I'm doing the grounding. And like today I felt amazing. So I had a great exercise. But on Friday, there was a lot going on in my life. So I just moved slowly and gently and just connected to my way of being. And so that's really what I'm showing up for, to really teach you with everything that's going on in this world. We end up in the doing mode. And it should be, do, have, not do, have, and then be. And I'll be honest with you, I was trained, the harder you work, the better things are, the more you'll progress, the more success you'll create. And I think many of us in these generational patterns have shown up that way for ourselves. But then our nervous system, our cortisol, everything becomes dysregulated. So cortisol is really your friend when you need it. But when you push too hard, it's not necessarily your friend. If it creates inflammation, it can create all sorts of diagnoses, which I won't get into detail, but it will really take you on a journey of not healing. And so sleep is really imperative too. So hence why I talk a lot about sleep and exhaustion and fatigue and sugar and nutrition. So let's go ahead and get started. So movement is your medicine. And the way we move and how we take care of our body will help us, right, truly regulate the stress in our body. So I want to ask you, those that are listening live, I would love for you to connect and respond. And if you're listening to the replay, drop it in the comments. How many of you feel too anxious to sit still? Like you just am like, if I keep going and I get more things done, then things will be better. But you're too tired to go to the gym. If that's you, drop me in the chat, or drop too tired gym or exhausted, right? And so there's this happy balance that we figure out for ourselves, that when we really step into our heart, we start to realize like what our rhythm is, right? And where we need to actually pull back on our journey and take better care of ourselves. So we're rebuilding ourselves, and we're stepping into ways of connecting with our way of being. Does that make sense? And we want to rebuild our rhythm. So are you feeling that settled dread creeping in as your calendar begins to fill up, right? We're stepping out of August, like I mentioned in the beginning, into September. And so maybe you haven't had as much of a schedule, and maybe you're more lax during the summer months, right? And now you're craving structure again because you're stepping into September. And if you're a mom or a dad, family and loved ones are going back to school, now you want structure to come back, but you have this fear of getting swallowed up by the hustle again. This is the season where so many of you may burn out, not necessarily because of your to-do list, but you're trying to jump back into a routine without really regulating your nervous system first. So I want to talk about movement and reentry burnout and nervous system fatigue. So burnout necessarily isn't necessarily doing too much. It's really about doing too much without being balanced in your cranial rhythm. Does that make sense? So when you're going from an unstructured, joyful, happy, sunshine, playing outside sort of summer, and then now you dive into a packed fall because the kids hit the ground, loved ones in school, more structured, like you got to get back on track right now sort of scenario, then you may not be honoring your transition coming from the summer into the fall. And then our adrenals will pay a price. So when I look at research in psychoneuroendocrinology, it shows that even mild perceived stress can increase your morning cortisol and really disrupt your hormonal imbalance, or hormonal balance, I should say, which is what so many people are concerned about. Get your hormones checked. I agree. But it's not just your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, it's all of your hormones, right? Insulin is a hormone. There's so many other hormones in the body, which if you've been following me, I've been speaking about quite consistently. So if you have a morning cortisol spike, it can lead to exhaustion or fatigue in the morning, even mood swings and irritability, particular cravings, like you promised that you'd quit yesterday and today you're like, okay, I'm going to start anew. It's Monday. Please stop doing that. By the way, I love you all, but please stop doing that. Create a system that you're marching in. And if you get off on track on one meal or you choose to have a special meal for yourself, get on track the next day, get your cravings in check. Or if you're struggling with insomnia and even that wired but tired energy, like those are all pieces of the puzzle that show us that we're truly imbalanced. Okay. So now, how do we move in alignment to balance our hormones, right? Because we want to get into that energy of movement. I would suggest in the morning, I think about 7 to 10, but many of you, like myself, get up earlier. So you'll just flip, you'll go to bed earlier and you'll get up earlier. Morning is your ideal time for light strength, stretching, and even grounding walks, if you're challenged with some of those symptoms that I just spoke about. Why? Because your cortisol is naturally going to peak in the morning and you want to work with it. You don't want to spike it harder, right? You don't want it to be higher, I should say. You want to have your natural cortisol is here, then it slowly drops off. Then we have a little blip anywhere from 2 to 4 p.m. to get us through the day. And then it drops off. Melatonin kicks in. It's time for sleep. Now, I talk about that almost every single live. So those of you that didn't hear it will hear it again. So that afternoon is oftentimes when patients and people that I work with have that energy dip. That is the perfect time, if you can, to do stretches, restorative yoga, or even a walk. Like I have, even at the clinic, when I'm full-time at the clinic working with patients, I have nobody scheduled from like 3 to 3:30, because that's when I can do a gentle walk. I could do breath work. I could take my pup for a walk. And why is this important? It's going to help me balance my stress and my blood sugar. It's going to help me regulate my mood and create that second wind and not end up with a cortisol spike at night, and give me the energy to finish my day. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's why that's the adrenals. So if people are really fatigued from 2 to 4 p.m., that's when I really realize their adrenals, they're pushing themselves really hard. And then I also look in the eye with iridology and I can see if the nervous system is being really pushed, right? Then we're looking at the evening. So I think of evening is if you must move and you want to move, you want to keep it gentle and you really want to avoid cardio after 6. Here's what happened to me. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I hadn't got my cardio in. It was a super busy day. And I jumped on my bike at 7 o'clock, my Peloton, and I did a pretty intense HIIT workout. Well, I soon felt it because my body was like, why are you doing this? This doesn't like feel like you. It feels like something else, right? And so what happened is my body wasn't ready to have that high workout. So when we have gentle movements in the evening, we're protecting our melatonin, which we just talked about, which prepares your body. It's the hormone that kicks in and prepares your body for sleep. So I want you to ask yourself, what time of day do you feel best for you to move in your body? And then ask yourself, have you ever, or not ask yourself, maybe think, have you ever tracked how your body responds differently to morning versus night workouts, right? So start to be aware of where you're feeling your best. Like I know for me, the HIIT, the cardio, the weight, those sort of exercises for me, it's morning. That's when I do my best. That's when I wake my body up and I feel fantastic. I had an amazing workout today and I just feel like on target. So begin to track how your body responds to different workouts that you've put into your lifestyle. And if you have to, pivot your habits and pivot your change. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you want to kind of stack your movements. That's what I think about. So if we think about micro movements equals really good quality macronutrient results. Remember, your macronutrients is your carbohydrate, your fats, and your proteins. So you could do like a 2-minute stair sprint after a meeting. Maybe you run upstairs. Maybe there's stairs in your office, and instead of taking the elevator, you could run up the stairs, right? Or could you do 5 squats, 5 to 10 squats? There's research around doing 10 squats every 55 minutes is really helpful. You could do that if you're waiting for your hot water to heat up or your coffee to brew or, so many different things, your food to heat up, or between like a project that you complete, then you start another project. It's so awesome to stack habits that way. Or I have a really dear friend of mine that does this, and I wish I could figure this out. I just can't because I see patients at the clinic and online, which is often visual so that I can see you and see how you're showing up. And I can like look at how your energy and I can sense that online or in the clinic. But walking meeting calls, she always does calls with her clients the way she set herself up so she can walk. I do that if I want to call loved ones at night or connect over the weekend. I plan a time to walk and talk so that I'm not just talking. I'm not just walking, but trust me when I say this. I also plan a time to walk when I have no phone except my dog and just enjoy nature like I did this morning and listening to the birds and really connecting to what my goals are this week and every day, right? So I do take that time, but these are suggestions to get your micro movements in. You can even do cat cow, like get on your hands and knees. You could Google it, but it's like bringing your back up, flattening your back out, bringing your back out. And you could do 5 or 10 of those between emails. And then I love this one. My patient actually shared this with me because they do this. They stretch while they are helping their kids when they have questions around their homework. So as we step in to September and your children have questions around homework, that's when you could actually step in and answer the questions for them while you're stretching. Okay. So now, So with that, I read a study in JAMA Internal Medicine. This was in 2022 that found that 3 to 4 short bursts of movement throughout the day, like less than 10 minutes, can reduce the cause of mortality by 30%. That's why I shared those above. Like 3 to 4 short bursts of movement can help you reduce mortality by 30%. So, what I want to ask you right now is, what is one daily task that you could stack onto your movement this week? What could you stack on that we just talked about, or even something that you love to do? Many times, like, I'll stand and wait for something to cook, or I'll be at the grill and I'll do squats, or I'll just do balancing on one leg, right? Like, what's one thing that you could stack into your already habits this week? And then what habit already exists that could become a cue for this movement? Because you guys, when I look at it, we do not realize how creature habit we are. We are so connected to habits, and they're so ingrained in us. And the most challenging thing for your health is to change the habits. And this is why I'm showing up and giving you ideas of how you can actually pivot your habits for a healthier you. So here are some re-entry rituals that I want you to think about as we head into, a lot of people are taking their children off to college this week. And so that's going to be a change for them. And then people are starting to think about back to school in September. So I want to give you some re-entry rituals that will help you. And these are really small intentional rhythms that will help you reset your nervous system without pressure. Are we good? Okay, great. So Sunday night breath work and tea instead of a to-do list, which is going to cause stress before you start your Monday, right? And know that we're the ones that created this Monday through Friday schedule in this world. It really wasn't created. We created it. And so we're living it. So how about if we just ease into our Monday and just really enjoy some laughter with the family and do some breath work, light a candle, drink some tea, and go to bed relaxed. And then in the morning, how about thinking about, and you can just choose one of these. Remember, I teach you all the time, don't try to stack too much on, because then you get frustrated and feel like a failure, which is not true, because I want to say to you, you're an amazing being. You're not a failure. You are so loved on this earth, and you are who you are. We just always get to make tweaks in our leadership and our health so that we can always be a better version of ourselves every day. And that's how I go through life. So how about a morning walk without your phone, right? Just make it light, or just walk out in your grass and listen to the birds, or look at the water, depending on what your view is, and really take in Mother Nature. Or a mid where you can just close your eyes for 3 minutes and just relax and have a reset. I know Brendan Bouchard, who's an amazing leadership individual, talks about having a reset every afternoon. And I believe he does a meditation as well, but don't quote me to that. But having a time to really reset midday, and I would say around the 2 to 4 time frame, like we just talked about. And lastly, how about thinking about an evening journal with an herbal tea ritual at night, right? Again, out of these 4 that I gave you, create one of your own, but I'm just trying to give you suggestions that really work, that are simple, easy, and you could stack on in your life. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So now I want to ask you, what is one ritual that you want to reclaim as summer ends? Like, what's one thing that can help you balance your nervous system as the summer comes to a close, where you can step in and get better sleep, get your blood sugar in check, which we're always talking about, with less exhaustion? And then where can you create 5 minutes of space just for your body this week? Like 5 minutes, you guys. I'm asking 5 minutes out of the time that you're awake for 12 or 14 hours, right? So where's 5 minutes that you can just stop and connect with your body, whether you lay on the floor and do breathing, whether you do a meditation for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be formal, but where you can just come back into your body and connect with yourself, right? If this conversation that we're having together really felt like, oh, Dr. Donahue gets it. Like, I'm exhaling. I want to slow down. I feel like I've been pushing, going, driving. And your soul knows that you need time for support and rhythm and deep rooted healing, as well as connection. Then come walk with me, you guys, inside Pocket Doc. This is my monthly wellness experience where you get weekly healing audios that I actually create and send out on nervous system repair, anything that has to do with a review of systems. I talk about thyroid health, hormone health, autoimmune disease, and where you can balance your hormones and create natural energy from a naturopathic way of being. I also, one time a week on Mondays, I do a printable PDF, which is a tool and a strategy and a resource where you can reset your routine each week that gets you to think about, how can I make this change this week that will help you stay on track. We have a private, supportive Pocket Doc community where there's also live guidance where I go live twice a month with you to access a supportive community, and you can actually get your questions answered. And you know what the key is that's super fun for the community is if they're working on something and they want support around it, as a doctor, then I create that live around that and then I answer questions. It's super cool. And I absolutely, this program, Become Your Own Doctor, they're my most favorite programs. So for August, you can get in for $147 a month. That's $100 off your first month. And I will do a health reset call with you privately for 30 minutes where we can build your fall routine together if you join in the next 48 hours. My team will tag you. This call is worth $500. Click the link. I'll drop the link in the chat to join Pocket Doc, and then my team will send you a link to schedule a call. I really want to help you rebuild your rhythm without the burnout, and I really want to get to do this with you. So I'm going to drop the link, and it's also running on the bottom of the screen, joinpocketdoc.com, where you can click on the link and join for $147 for the month of August, and you can read about it on our screen. So I'm going to open it up to see if you have any questions, but my goal is really, for the month of August have been working on getting your nervous system reset, getting out the cortisol push. And I have 100% been working on it myself. And it's really, really key for us to walk through this journey together. And with Pocket Doc, I actually 100% do that. So I'm going to open it up for those of you live, where I'll give you a few minutes to see if you have any questions that I can answer for you. After all, that's what I'm here for. And those of you that are listening to this as a recording, if you have any questions at all, feel free to actually, jump into the community, and ask some questions where we can actually answer them for you and get you, get you on board with your community. I will actually drop in the chat a link if you want to join our community and get your questions answered, where my team and myself actually answer these questions for me. So this is a private community that you can join, and where we can actually support you. So are there any questions for all of you amazing people that are on live right now that I can answer, that are coming up around movement, cortisol, nervous system regulation? Even let me know, like, what are you going to work on that you can actually stack your habits this month? Like, what is that going to look like before we start to step into September? I just can't believe we're a couple weeks away from really changing our schedule. And in New Hampshire, it's going to start to feel like fall after Labor Day. Sometimes it's like God shuts the switch off, and then we're like soon into fall right after Labor Day. So we want to savor every moment that we have. And I hope you found this helpful. Please join the community and jump in with us so that we can support you on your health and wellness journey. I'm sending each and every one of you so much love and healing. And you got this. Like, how do you get to create a body that you love so that you can live in it every single day? That's the key. All right. I'm sending you so much love and have an amazing day.